The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world, this is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We de-propagandize the mainstream media. We also make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion. Yours and mine, equally valuable or not. So let's share them. Let's compare. Let's debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Good morning. I am John David Wells. Yesterday was a tough day for the Secret Service, but not as tough as the first round of congressional oversight on that agency. This time it was the Senate of the United States, and this time the Secret Service came with answers. They were also joined by FBI Deputy Director, who sat down and tried to play a little bit of politics. There is something going on there regarding the FBI and politics. More about that from this superb report from Jesse Watters Primetime. When it came to these hearings, Jesse Watters nailed it last night on Fox. This, by the way, through Real Clear Politics, who has a Secret Service sniper whistleblower whispering in their ear. And so the reporting is beginning to get juicy. And Jesse Watters handled it last night. I want you to see the report. So let's take a look as we begin our show this morning.
A Secret Service counter sniper is predicting another assassination attempt before November. In an email obtained by Real Clear Politics, a Secret Service agent with 20 years experience on the counter sniper team is announcing he's going to blow the whistle until all of his supervisors are fired. The counter sniper says his mission is to prevent another JFK-style assassination. And the only reason that hasn't happened is because they've gotten lucky. He says Secret Service leadership is corrupt and states clearly, quote, "We all should expect another assassination attempt to happen before November. We've exposed our inability to protect our leaders due to our leadership." After this email went public, it was wiped off the Secret Service servers. There's a massive cover-up underway, and it spilled over into Congress. After Cheadle resigned in disgrace, her number 2 got promoted and testified today that the Secret Service screwed up, but the local police, it was really all their fault.
30 seconds, if it's communicated directly to a counter sniper team, would that be enough time to react prior to the firing of those shots?
Senator, if we'd had that information, they would have been able to address it more quickly. It appears that that information was stuck or siloed in that state and local channel.
Were explicit instructions provided to cover the roof of the AGR building and locals just not follow it, or were those explicit instructions not provided?
It's my understanding what was communicated is that the locals had a plan and that they had been there before. We are looking at this, and they should have been on that roof. And the fact that they were in the building is something that I'm still trying to understand.
The Secret Service set the perimeter, established communications, didn't fly a drone, didn't put a counter sniper on the roof, and never even showed up to brief the locals. The local SWAT commander said Secret Service never told them to man that roof.
The accusation that somehow we were told that to be on the roof line, for instance, and that it was too hot. That's ridiculous. You know, our snipers are prepared to operate in Western Pennsylvania from anywhere from 10 degrees below zero to 90 degrees. They were prepared to be wherever they were told by Secret Service that day.
Why did the Secret Service not want that roof covered? Why? We learned today that the Secret Service was offered a drone, but turned it down. And they never even caught Crooks's drone because they had problems with their internet.
You had a drone system, but you had bandwidth problems. The bandwidth apparently was adequate for the shooter's drone, but not for the Secret Service. Can you explain that?
I have no explanation for it, sir. People fly drones all the time on the peripheries of our sites. And we go out and we talk to them and we ascertain what their intentions are. On this day in particular, because of the connectivity challenge, as you noted, there was a delay and he flew his drone at 3:51 approximately.
You can buy a local hotspot from T-Mobile for $20. And not only that, the Biden-Harris administration spent $40 billion to wire rural America with internet. And the Secret Service doesn't have Wi-Fi in Pennsylvania? Remember, after the shooting, the FBI said they couldn't find a motive and Crooks was a registered Republican? Well, the CEO of Gab, a social media site, has just come forward with the data showing Crooks had an account where he aggressively defended Joe Biden and his border policies and his COVID lockdowns. Does he sound like a Republican? After this revelation, the FBI came out today and said Crooks wrote right-wing things online.
Some of these comments, if ultimately attributable to the shooter, appear to reflect anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes, to espouse political violence, and are described as extreme in nature. While the investigative team is still working to verify this account to determine if it did in fact belong to the shooter, we believe it important to share and note it today, particularly given the general absence of other information to date from social media and other sources of information that reflect on the shooter's potential motive and mindset.
Why is the FBI acting so sketchy and dishonest about Crooks's political ideology? We don't care if he's a right-winger or a left-winger. He tried to kill Trump. Why is the FBI working so hard to muddy up his philosophy? He's a Democrat donor, then he's a Republican, then he's pro-Joe Biden open borders, then he's anti-immigrant. Why are the feds treating a dead assassin so cryptically? And why can't they crack into all of his accounts? We can hack the Iranian nuclear program, but not a 20-year-old's blog? I'm not buying it. And why don't we know the name of the Secret Service site supervisor in Butler? The man who made all these wrong calls all at once, all on the same day?
Who was the lead site agent who made the decision to leave the AGR building completely outside of the security perimeter? Who was that?
Senator, I cannot give you that name. This person is operational. They're still doing investigations. They're still doing protective visits.
Have they been relieved of duty?
Senator, they have not
I know
been
their
relieved
name,
of
by the
duty.
way. Why have they not been relieved of duty?
They are still cooperating, not only being interviewed by the FBI, but also by our Office of Professional Responsibility.
Why hasn't the Secret Service site supervisor for the Butler rally been suspended? Why is he still in charge of protecting politicians? Why isn't he under investigation? They're keeping him around to help do the investigation? Are they going to keep him around for Trump's next Butler rally? And the senators know the guy's name. Why hasn't the Senate subpoenaed the Secret Service site supervisor for Butler? That's the guy who they should drag in to testify under oath about what happened, not these squirrely bureaucrats. Why is everybody protecting this guy? Who is this guy? The politicians won't even tell us what the guy's name is. Something stinks.
Yeah, something stinks. Jesse Waters nailed it. 100%. Everything you needed to know about yesterday's hearing was there. A couple of points of fairness. There was internet connectivity problems for the Secret Service drone. And that didn't seem to work against the drone flown by the shooter. Well, there are drones and there are drones. The amount of information coming from a Secret Service drone is orders of magnitude more complex, encrypted, et cetera, than, say, for example, a typical Mavic drone being flown by you or I. So, yeah, The Bluetooth idea, the telemetry that comes from a small little drone that doesn't really transmit, has nothing to do with the Secret Service drone, which is putting all kinds of information into a telemetry stream and then sent over the internet to whoever wants to see it. So that's thing number one. Thing number two, you have to keep in mind that these guys are working a few days behind. When Paul Abate, the FBI deputy director, and Ronald Rowe, the acting Secret Service director, when they showed up yesterday before the U.S. Senate, they were talking about information from the day before or the day before that. They also, as far as the Secret Service is concerned, they got that dropped in their lap because the original Secret Service director, former Secret Service director Kimberly Cheadle, walked away. And so they were at a disadvantage in these conversations. The questions by the senators were very pointed, although you do have to keep in mind that they're looking at that through a political perspective. That's, for example, why they decided that what they would do is try to compare the drones. And so when you have all this, you got to look at this as what it is. And what it is an investigation underway. And there's lots of dust in the air. And the first reports are always wrong. And that isn't necessarily sinister. What is sinister, in my view, is exactly what Jesse Waters just pointed out. Why was the site supervisor being protected? Now, you need to keep something in mind. That site supervisor's name was indeed reported in open media. So after the break, I'm going to give you his name, if I can find it, because it may disappear. This whistleblower email that Real Clear Politics threw out there, that has a tendency to disappear too. I've been trying to look for it all morning. Can't find it. How come? Well, it appears as all those search engines are indeed still playing ball with American federal government. And that's bad. You heard a reference to a Gab account. The gunman who tried to assassinate former President Donald Trump appears to have used a controversial alt-right favored social media platform, Gab, to spread messages in support of President Biden. This according to the platform's founder. Gab CEO Andrew Torba said he learned today, that Thomas Matthew Crooks, quote, may have had an account on our platform after getting, quote, an emergency disclosure request from a law enforcement agency. The account at Epic Microwave, which the CEO stressed he has been unable to confirm was definitely Crooks, posted on the site 9 times in total. Torba tweeted just 30 minutes after getting the law enforcement request. While the account made very few posts on the site, the majority of them were in support of President Biden, said the CEO. And the platform, by the way, launched in 2016 as a completely free speech alternative to Twitter. A number of hosts in particular expressed support for President Biden's COVID lockdowns, border policies, and executive orders. So that's out there. All right. So Gab. Once again, you can't find a whole lot of information on Gab. I tried to chase this down through their website. Not so easy. How come? Why is it? Why is it that? And so what we have is more questions than answers, although I believe that the guys who were testifying before the Senate did their very best to provide the best information they had. But real journalism wins out when it comes to Jesse Waters' prime time. He asked all the right questions. Why is the FBI trying to muddy up the political proclivities of Mr. Thomas Matthew Crooks? Why is it that we can hack into the Iranian nuclear program, but for whatever reason can't hack into a 20-year-old's encrypted networks? There is an easy answer to that. It's kind of conspiratorial. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but maybe the Iranians might have learned something about how they handled their internet business and maybe took steps to try to change it. There are all kinds of real problems here. I keep saying that Thomas Matthew Crooks was practicing tradecraft. I'm sticking to my guns on that. This is the Wells Report. Back with more in a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Can't find the site supervisor's name. This was a guy who was brought in from another field office to run the whole shebang at Butler Township. But I did find it once before. I'll keep looking. We did, however, find the email, or at least part of it. This went to all of the personnel in the Secret Service. Thank you for the backing and support. I'm not stopping until 5 high-level supervisors, 1 down, are either fired or removed from their current positions. This agency needs to change. If not now, when? The next assassination attempt in 30 days? Because we should all expect another attempt to happen before November. We've exposed our inability to protect our leaders due to our leadership. The technicians who worked on 7/13/24 in Butler, Pennsylvania did their job with their hands tied. Secret Service supervisors knew better. The foot soldiers working made the best of a bad situation that resulted in a civilian death and a near miss of the protectee and our technician shooting and killing the suspect. I know many look at the CS team as guys who sit on the roof and don't do much. That's counter sniper, by the way. But our responsibility, our mission is not about protecting an empty White House located at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's about preventing and stopping another JFK-style assassination in whatever city that may be. Sadly, we have fallen short for years. We just got lucky and looked good doing it. I've conveyed these thoughts not only to supervisors, to include the current captain within CS, but those responsible for training us, SOTS/CS, only to be brushed off as if those with less experience somehow knew more than me. The team I was once proud to be a part of is something I now have to somehow hide as I move to my next career. Who wants to hire a U.S. Secret Service CS guy who failed? That's the public perception I'm now faced with. The USS CS team is a stain I'll never be able to clean. Some of us take our jobs and responsibilities seriously, deadly serious. I may be overzealous, but after 7 years in the Marine Corps as an NCO and 20 years in the United States Secret Service counter sniper team, failure is not an option. On 7/13/24, we failed, not because of commitment or sense of dedication, but because our supervisors, aka leadership, knew better and thought our concerns were less than important. The motto of the United States Secret Service, CYA, cover your ass. And every supervisor is doing it right now. Let's see, with name redacted below. Okay, so the name is not there, but like I said, that was in mainstream media reporting about, I don't know, a week and a half ago or something like that. And so we're looking at this and we're watching it very, very carefully, and we're saying, okay, so where does all this stand? And again, I have to point out, for reasons of fairness, for just reasons of fairness, that this testimony does look very bad. It doesn't look as bad as Kimberly Cheadle's testimony. That gave time for the Secret Service to try to figure out some way of explaining the unexplainable. However, it cost her job. Other heads will roll, and they should. And they should. The simple case of the matter is that, we don't know whether this whistleblower was the actual agent that was responsible for setting all this up. It seems like that might be a possibility. So in other words, this may be a defense of the guy who was actually responsible, talked about by I keep forgetting this guy's name, Josh Hawley, the senator from Missouri. When he's saying, who is this guy? By the way, I know his name. His name actually isn't important. The failure is. And what haunts me after reading this story is that there may be another attempt to get it right, quote unquote. For God's sakes, I hope not. I don't know exactly how far the deep state goes, but I remember musing on this broadcast that the idea that the deep state has infected also the U.S. Secret Service is chilling. Should be chilling to everybody, right to our collective cores. Will the next attempt be someone on the detail? It's hard to say that, but it's also a question that must be asked. The Wells Report in progress. Back in a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Yesterday it was Facebook. Now Google has problems. Artificial intelligence chatbot Google Gemini is now refusing to answer questions about the failed assassination attempt against former President Trump in accordance to what it calls its policy on election-related issues. Quote, I can't help with responses on elections and political figures right now, Gemini told Fox News. While I would never deliberately share something that's inaccurate, I can make mistakes. So while I work on improving, you can try Google Search. Well, except Google Search has been sketchy as well. Google Search is apparently simply not working properly when it comes to making searches. Indeed, Donald Trump tore into both Meta, the Facebook people, and Google after what he said was censorship of the bloody picture of his attempted assassination. This is from the London Daily Mail. Donald Trump is lashing at Facebook and Google after Facebook admitted that the image of the ex-president following the assassination attempt was mistakenly censored by the social media platform. Facebook just admitted that it was wrongly censoring the Trump attempted assassination photo and got caught. The Republican presidential nominee posted on social media, Truth Social, yesterday. Same thing for Google. They made it virtually impossible to find pictures or anything about this heinous act. Both are facing big backlash over censorship claims. I just found that out to be true this morning when I Google searched the name of the site supervisor involved in that particular melee, and couldn't find anything. Couldn't find anything at all. His post on social media, Truth Social, comes after a member of Facebook's communication team admitted that the image of Trump raising his fist in Butler, Pennsylvania, after the shooting was accidentally censored. There was an error, said Danny Lever on X, responding to a post accusing Mark Zuckerberg of censorship. So separately, internet uses in the past few days have also raised questions about Google after searching Donald Trump brought up articles about his political opponent in news results. A search by DailyMail.com found that Trump's website, X, and Facebook pages and images were immediately listed. But when it comes to top news stories, the first articles listed were Harris, Donald Trump, followed by other categories of Trump-related articles. Let's find out. Let's do this right now. What do you say? Let's see. Trump. This is on Chrome, and I'm going through Google search. Trump assassination. Let's see if they fixed it. Let's see. Trump assassination. News. Ted Cruz, tangle over hearing over assassination. Secret Service director ashamed. That's from NBC News, Fox News, Trump assassination attempt. Senate to grill Secret Service. Let's see what else we have here. Meta accused of bias, assassination attempt of Donald Trump. Meta apology. Meta blames hallucinations after its AI said Trump rally shooting did not happen. So is this AI that we've heard so much about actually a progressive politician or a member of the corrupt media? Sure looks like it to me. That's what I put on X earlier today. And so there is a problem, a big one. And they've done this before. Why would they do it again? Why would they go down this route again? Because this is a card you can only play once. Why are they trying to play it again? Is it because they believe for whatever reason that nothing we see or nothing we hear or nothing we read cannot be overcome by propagandist editing of the news that we see? That's ridiculous. It's not 1963 anymore. We have access to information. Good information. It may appear and then disappear, like the name of this site supervisor may appear and then it's gone. I only did that because I believe it was the LA Times. I'm not sure. I'm going to go back. When I have a moment, and I'm going to sift through all that because I do have that guy's name somewhere. I just can't remember it now and can't find it on what is supposed to be a search platform. While we're at it, this broadcast is currently being shown on X, Elon Musk's free speech site. And I will tell you that Elon Musk is thinking about putting together a search engine. If he does, I will use it. And yeah, I talked about the free speech on X. It's hard to read. There are a lot of people that use that platform to make really, really awful, degrading accusations about other people on X. On both sides. It's hard to read, but it is free speech. At least mostly. There are some people that are complaining. I'm still trying to figure that out. While we are on the subject of assassinations, there was one in Iran. This was epically embarrassing to Iran as the political leader of Hamas was shot to death in his private apartment in downtown Tehran. Either was shot to death or was blown up in an airstrike. I'm not exactly sure that that was the case, but that is possible. And if that's the case, how did Israel get through the integrated air defense of Iran to bomb a building? Anyway, like I said, there's more details on that we don't have, but we're keeping our eyes on it. Here is a report from Sky News on this very topic of the assassination.
These are some of the last pictures of Ismail Haniyeh. The leader of Hamas's political operations was attending the inauguration of Iran's new president, Masoud Pezeshkian, yesterday in Tehran. Israel has not commented on his assassination, but announcing his death on state TV, Iran blamed the Zionist regime, vowing to avenge the killing.
In the early hours of today, Ismail Haniyeh's residence in Tehran was hit. One of his bodyguards was martyred too. The cause and dimensions of this incident is under investigation, and the results will be announced later.
The audacious operation to take out one of Hamas's most senior figures is a massive blow to the militant organization and its forces in Gaza. It could also provoke a wider regional conflagration at a time when the Middle East is already on fire. Iran's Supreme National Security Council is holding an emergency meeting to discuss its response to Haniyeh's assassination. His death in the capital Tehran whilst attending a high-profile event is enormously embarrassing and is a blow to their power. There is no doubt the region is teetering, becoming more chaotic and unpredictable by the day. And as Hezbollah and Israel continue to trade blows, fears are growing that this conflict will spread. How Hamas and Hezbollah respond remains unclear for the moment, but they may step up their attacks. There had been hopes, not least by the hostages' families, that a ceasefire deal with Hamas was close, despite there being significant gaps. But the killing of Haniyeh makes that prospect of an agreement remote, and the possibility of further escalation in a war that has raged already for 10 months more likely. Alex Rossi, Sky News.
Nice job, Alex. Good report. And so Hamas and Iran both vow harsh responses to the killing of Ismail Haniyeh. Hamas's top political leader, Ismail Haniyeh, was killed today in an apparent assassination at his residence in Tehran, drawing reprisal pledges from the militant group and Iran, and fueling deeper concern that Israel's war in Gaza could rapidly expand across the Middle East. Haniyeh and his bodyguard were killed after attending an inauguration ceremony for the new Iranian president, Masoud Pezeshkian. Hamas and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard both announced this. Hamas and Iran immediately blamed Israel, which had pledged to take down Hamas leaders responsible for the October 7th attack that left almost 1,200 Israelis dead and more than 200 taken hostage. Some of those were Americans as well, both killed and taken hostage. Nearly 40,000 Palestinians have died in Israel's retaliatory war in Gaza. By the way, you got to keep something in mind. That 40,000 figure comes from Hamas itself. They would have a motive to overstate the losses, but indeed losses have occurred. The question is, were those losses among people who support Hamas? If they support Hamas being an ideology, they are adherents to that, and therefore they are not innocent civilians. They are actually operatives of the terror group Hamas. Something to keep in mind if you happen to be a college student here in America that is woefully anti-Jewish, bigoted against the Jews, and you like your keffiyeh and your flag. Remember, if you adhere to a terrorist philosophy, you're a terrorist. Now, the people that chase down terrorists may be too chicken to pursue you at this point, but that's not necessarily going to be the truth for the rest of time. I suggest you get back to your books. Stop being an idiot and stop doing stupid things, especially where anti-Jewish bigotry is concerned. The Israeli military has declined to comment on the Hania death, which took place just hours after Israel said it undertook an intelligence-based elimination of top Hezbollah commander Fuad Shakir in Beirut. That attack was in retaliation for a rocket attack on a soccer field in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights on Saturday that killed 12 people, mostly children. Once again, scurrilous adaptation of fact by USA Today, where we got this article. Israeli-occupied Golan Heights? The Golan Heights is hardly occupied. It was won during two wars, the 1967 Six-Day War and the 1973 Rosh Hashanah War. That is Israeli territory. I don't know why they would say that it's occupied. Well, yeah, if Israel owns the property, then they would occupy it, I guess. I don't know what USA Today is thinking. Hamas and Iran pledged retaliation. The Al-Qassam brigades, the military wing of Hamas, promised a strong response to Hania's death, calling the assassination, quote, incentive for everyone to back and support the resistance in Gaza and elsewhere. You know, for Hamas to say that they've lost 40,000 of their own citizens or their own supporters, depending on your point of view, and then to continue egging on more of this, the Qassam brigades, how many of them are left? What are there, 25, 30 guys sitting around in a bombed out building somewhere in the Gaza Strip? How much more damage do you want Israel to do to the Gaza Strip? How many more Palestinians do you want to see killed because you can't shut up? What's going on here? The group said in a statement that Israel miscalculated by killing resistance leaders and violating the sovereignty of Iran and Lebanon. In a terror war, just like a street fight, there are no rules. No rules. If you're going to fire rockets into a country you haven't declared war on, that's a war crime. If they come back and stomp your guts out, that's not a war crime. That's defense. To draw an equivalence in any way, shape, or form is intellectually dishonest. And oh, by the way, continues to egg on this conflict. Israel is not backing down. How many of your own people do you want to see killed by Israel? How many more people do you want to lose or martyr, as they said in the Iranian news broadcast? Talking about Hania and his bodyguard, both martyrs? Really? Martyrs of what? In a slaughter of innocent Jews? That's not martyrdom. That's justice. Well, you just don't understand the situation. Yeah, I understand the situation. I'm a human being. I look at it from a human standpoint. Once again, as you know on this broadcast, I know it's hard to believe, but I really don't care about politics. I care about reality. And right now, reality and politics are strange bedfellows, ably assisted by the covering sheets of a corrupt media. So Iran's president said Israel would regret its cowardly action, like firing on Israeli cities from afar, that kind of cowardly action. The Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, said it was his nation's responsibility to take action since the attack took place in Iran. That, by the way, is sanitized by USA Today because Ayatollah Ali Khamenei pledged revenge. But now that has been changed to take action. See what we do here? See what we do? We de-propagandize the mainstream media. USA Today not exactly covering itself with glory on this story, although they do a pretty good job in other things. But still, once again, as we get closer to the election, you need to be aware that pretty soon what would normally be referred to as news would very likely be submerged in a sea of, shall we say, absurd. And that's going to happen more, not less. We'll try to untangle it as best we can here on the Wells Report as we continue for this Wednesday, July 31st, year of our Lord 2024. Back in a moment.
Vallarta.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. I want to say good morning to Jesse and Barbara Hankins, somewhere in America, watching us on YouTube. Thanks very much for joining us, guys. I really appreciate it. Isn't it amazing that you can be somewhere in America? You know, they drive trucks for a living, and they can get YouTube. But I bet you they can't fly a drone. Okay, I'm just kidding. It's that bandwidth thing. Thanks very much for joining us. We sincerely appreciate it, Jesse and Barbara. So guess what happened? President Biden today will push for new proposals to crack down on fentanyl trafficking at the border as he emphasizes key policies he wants to focus on during the final 6 months of his presidency. 250,000 Americans have died of opioid overdoses. Most of those are fentanyl. And now that he's gone, now that he's a lame duck, now he's going to do something about fentanyl trafficking? Thanks, Mr. President, he said as sarcastically as he possibly could. Biden's proposals to Congress include a new drug classification for fentanyl-related substances, which would result in higher penalties to traffickers, give border officials the tools to effectively track and target small-dollar fentanyl shipments, and create a nationwide pill press and tableting machine registry that will make it easier for law enforcement to keep track of machines producing fake fentanyl pills. What about the ones already in the hands of the cartels? What about that? I have a great idea on how you stop fentanyl trafficking across the border. Great idea. You ready? Here you go. If you get caught carrying fentanyl across the border, and we have you being in America illegally and a backpack full of fentanyl, how about we just line you up against the wall and shoot you? How about that? Oh, John David, you You're getting rid of due process. Every American is entitled to due process of law. They're not Americans. Hello. I also have another policy that I'd like to see someone implement. I'd like to see United States airstrikes on all of those fentanyl-producing factories scattered all over Mexico. But I'm sure they're stopping right now because President Biden is going to get a pill stamping registry. What are they going to do? Go to the Sinaloa cartel and say, "Let me see your pill stamping device." Nope. No. These guys are really good at this. They've penetrated the Mexican government to the point the Mexican government won't do anything with them. And I can argue that they've done the same thing to the American government insofar as that border's still open, the cartels are still doing business, and none of them have been bombed into atoms. Who's getting paid? Who's getting paid? And speaking of projecting power into somebody else's country, the Venezuelan street gang, Tren de Aragua, is believed to have given what authorities are calling a green light to attack and kill police officers. This, according to federal authorities. A bulletin by the Colorado Information Analysis Center, a screenshot of which was shared with Fox News, warns that a police department in New Mexico received information from a federal partner that members have been encouraged to attack police officers in Denver. Quote, the Albuquerque, New Mexico Police Department has released this officer safety bulletin to notify law enforcement of information regarding Tren de Aragua, the criminal organization, and reports that TDA members in Denver may have been given a green light to fire on or attack law enforcement. You know, speaking of that airstrike, I know Venezuela is a long way away, but strangely enough, if they can project power to kill cops in Denver, I'm pretty sure that we can project power into Venezuela and turn their headquarters and everybody in their headquarters into tiny particles of flaming meat. I'm pretty sure we can do that. And until we do that, we're going to have these idiots coming up with these fantastic statements. Yes, you've got the green light to go ahead and kill police officers in Denver. Oh, really? Oh, really? Look, it's going to take something really draconian to get rid of these guys. I understand that I am saying, well, it's not due process of law, John David. Well, there's a reason why I did that. You see, because in certain circumstances, the federal government doesn't need due process of law. Just ask whoever's left of the Anwar al-Awlaki family. And yeah, Anwar al-Awlaki was a terrorist or a terrorist, essentially cheerleader, who President Obama said, you know what? We're going to blast this guy into the aforementioned small particles of flaming meat. And they did it. But what they can't explain is why they killed the guy's 16-year-old son and his buddy a week later. I guess it's more important to have some American offshore being killed by the federal government than it is for the federal government to blast these cartel headquarters into atoms. They sure draw the line in funny places, don't they? You know, that fentanyl thing, there are 4 reasons why we don't close the border. 1, you believe in illicit drugs coming across the border, or maybe you have a financial stake in it. Same thing about sex trafficking of children. Maybe you have a stake in that too. 3rd, maybe you want to see a terrorist attack into the United States. And you want the people to cross the border in southern Mexico or in Mexico to be able to do that work. Or the 4th one, you're being paid by a cartel. So which is it? I have my suspicions. I'm sure you do too. That's hour number 1 of the Wells Report for this Wednesday, the 31st day of July, year of our Lord 2024. Coming up in just a couple of seconds, we're going to spend a little bit more time talking about the media. A CNN political commentator who's essentially conservative calls out somebody on CNN for a silly statement, and we'll bring that and more to you in just a moment here on the Wells Report.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-655-6870. That's 877-655-6870. 877-655-6870.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We de-propagandize the mainstream media. Did a pretty good job of that last hour. Plan to do the same thing today and this hour. We also make commentary. Commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, yours and mine. Let's compare them. Let's debate. 817-379-2172 is a good way to start. You can find the chat room and join us there if you will. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. So Scott Jennings criticized Vice President Kamala Harris. This happened yesterday for, quote, trying to erase all evidence she was a border czar, and then flip-flopping on key issues. During an appearance on CNN Newsnight with Abby Phillip, former Trump White House Communications Director Alyssa Farah Griffin suggested Democrats may be able to flip the immigration issue against Republicans. She said it was actually true when Harris claimed Democrats wanted more Customs and Border Patrol officers and were set to fight the fentanyl epidemic before Republicans vetoed the most comprehensive border bill in decades. Jennings responded to Griffin. He said there was no way Democrats could believe they will fight to an even draw on the issue of immigration against former President Trump. We happen to have that moment here on the Wells Report. Let's take a look at it as we continue for this Wednesday on your favorite online platform.
Now you've got Kamala Harris saying, we wanted more CBP officers. We wanted to fight fentanyl. That is actually true. They were willing to support that bill, and Donald Trump decided not to. How Republicans stepped in it so bad with that is just beyond me.
There's no possible way Democrats could possibly believe they're going to fight to even a draw on the issue of immigration. I hope they run all their ads on immigration because it will remind the American people every time they turn on their television sets what a complete and utter failure this has all been. I mean, if they were so proud of their record, why is she working so hard to erase all evidence from the internet that she was in fact the border czar?
It's really hard to say. It's a dangerous crisis and an existential risk to the public and to national security. But you have to wait till I'm in office in January. Like Godspeed in the time being.
No, it's not. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? What is Trump going to do between now and, say, for example, if he's elected in November? What's he going to do? The answer is nothing. We have one president at a time. And Donald Trump isn't the president. It is an existential threat to this nation. 250,000 Americans have died of opioid poisoning. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. We went to war. We joined the Second World War over the loss of some 2,000 American military personnel at Pearl Harbor. We went to a war, our longest war, the war on terror, after the loss of 3,000 Americans. We've lost 250,000 people because of fentanyl poisoning, and there is still something besides smoking ruins of a former cartel business enterprise in Mexico? And oh, by the way, Kamala Harris, who was appointed to take care of the border, a lot of us sat there and said, oh my, what a dirty trick against the vice president by President Biden at the time. I mean, it's an intractable problem. It's a political mess, not because there aren't solutions out there. But that bill that she keeps talking about, that was the best immigration bill ever. What it did is essentially codified the immigration system we have right now. That's not what we want. It's not what we need. We need a wall from one end of the border to the other. No holes. Well, yeah, but there's terrain somewhere around New Mexico and eastern Arizona that's impassable. Baloney. They'll figure out a way to pass it. As long as we have people crossing the border illegally, including terrorists, we need to have a physical barrier there that's patrolled 24/7, 365. We can do it. We do it in Texas. That's what we need to do. And that border problem, and when they talk a little bit about, well, we had this bill and so on and so forth, all that bill did was provide enough CBP officers and enough money and enough judges, et cetera, to process those illegal aliens into the United States, not to actually send them home. You see, what you need to do is you need to put money on the border to build the wall, to staff the wall, so that you know exactly when anybody's coming across it at any moment, any day, any week, any month, any hour. And you need to keep people out except for the international ports of entry. And then, if you still have problems with fentanyl coming across the border from Mexico, how about this? How about you close the international ports of entry? That would stop all of this. But of course, that takes an American, not a Republican or a Democrat. That takes an American, somebody willing to protect this country. It's not like we don't have reasons to protect the country. I keep bringing it up. 250,000 people in the United States dead. Enough fentanyl to kill all of us in this country. And we haven't done anything to stop it. Well, President Biden just did something today. My God, he's got a fantastic proposal. Does it include lining up drug traffickers against the border wall and shooting them to death if they're here illegally? They have a backpack full of fentanyl. My God, that's no due process. What are you doing? We don't do that here. Why not? They're not Americans. They're not protected by our laws. They're not protected by our due process. That's for Americans. John David, you are just so terribly, crazily weird when it comes to this. Yes, I know everything's weird in the Republican Party these days, huh? Speaking of which, the white dudes for Kamala. Hollywood's white dudes are rallying around Kamala Harris. Jeff Bridges, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Mark Hamill were among the stars who participated in a Zoom call Monday to raise money for Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, which was dubbed White Dudes for Harris and streamed on YouTube. Numerous politicians, including Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, also took part. Early in the call, Bridges said he's excited about Harris's campaign, and President Joe Biden beautifully passed the baton to her by dropping out of the race. Yeah, he beautifully passed the baton after all the party bosses said that he would pass the baton. It was a coup. But there you go. In case you have not seen this, I thought you might like to. White Dudes for Kamala Harris. And this is what some of this stuff looked like, just so you know it for your scrapbook. Take a look.
Tonight, tens of thousands of self-proclaimed white dudes for Harris joined a Zoom call to rally support for her. It even featured a cameo from the dude himself.
I accepted the invitation. You know, I was brought to the party not so much as being white, and I certainly am, but because I'm a dude, you know. So a friend sent me this email today with your hat on there, and I said, oh, I gotta have one of those. I qualify, man. I'm white, I'm a dude, and I'm for Harris. Kamala is just so certainly our girl, you know. I can see her being president. I'm so excited. A woman president, man. How exciting.
Yeah, it's about plumbing. It's about skin color. And what is not sexist about white dudes for Kamala? What is not racist about white dudes for Kamala? Like I said, they draw lines in very funny places in this kind of thing. By the way, some of the things that were talked about in the White Dudes for Harris Zoom call included redefining masculinity. Who's redefining masculinity? Pete Buttigieg? Is he going to do it? No thanks. No thanks at all. Look, I don't care who you vote for. You want to vote for Kamala Harris? By all means. You want to give her money? Go for it. It's America. That's just fine. But stop speaking about every other male in the country as if you have the right to. Am I a white dude not for Kamala Harris? No, not at all. I mean, I'm right in the middle of this. I report the news. I'm not going to tell you what I think or who I'm voting for or what have you. I'm just going to report the news. In this case, the news is the warpage of the white American male for the sake of leftist politics. And once again, if that's your cup of tea, by all means, do it. Go there. Be all you can be. But the idea of redefining masculinity on the part of leftist politicians and women? No, that's not true. There was an interesting X post the other day that had another one of these rage camps where women beat the ground with sticks and so on and so forth. And the question was, why are all these women angry? And without skipping a beat, I said, they're angry because they got everything they wanted. And that's why they're angry. Yeah, that's what happens. Now, that's just my opinion. But the simple case of the matter is that when you come right down to it, this is not a presidential election based on human plumbing and skin color. This is about real issues that are terribly important to these United States. That being said, there is someone else who has done exactly that. By the way, I've pointed out on both sides that indeed the campaign that starts dealing with the issues in a real way, that puts their actual issue positions out there, will win this election. It's true. It's absolutely true. Now, there may be an advantage for one political party over the other when it comes to putting out their positions. I dare say that Kamala Harris doesn't really want you to know the positions that she is interested in supporting as president of the United States. In the meantime, you can read all about it on the Trump side of the coin. Once again, I'm not promoting any of that. I'm just saying that's the fact. Those are the facts. Vice presidential nominee Senator J.D. Vance, after days of being raked over the coals for his bitter cat ladies comment, said he was prepared for the deluge of negative media that came after former President Trump tapped him to be his running mate. In an interview with NBC, Vance said he does not believe that President Trump is disappointed about picking him. No, Vance said, I knew that when I came out of the gate, there was going to be a couple of days of positive media coverage. Then immediately they would go and attack me over everything I've ever said in my life. The price of entry on being on the national ticket and giving me an opportunity to govern is you have to take the shots. And so I sort of expected it. I think that, frankly, the people who have made a lot of money and acquired a lot of power screwing the country up are not going to go easily, referring to what's been colloquially named the swamp. Vance went on to say he would want to target border policy once in office, essentially undoing the work of Vice President Kamala Harris. President Biden tapped Harris to address the flow of illegal immigration in 2021. But, of course, she wasn't a border czar. She wasn't a part of that border or anything. No. She was going into the Northern Triangle to try to figure out why people were coming. Okay, right. So there you go. Vance is talking about the issues. Kamala Harris is talking about Vance, and the white dudes for Kamala are talking about whatever they talk about. I'm frankly more interested in what's going on with the nation and the economy, energy production, et cetera, et cetera. That's funny, by the way. Kamala Harris saying, yeah, OPEC didn't raise their production levels. Well, if we happen to be energy independent, then we wouldn't have to worry what about OPEC's production levels, would we? Seems so simple from this microphone. This is the Wells Report. Back in a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. President Biden says not only is he going to do something about fentanyl at the border, finally, he says his administration is taking another major step in student debt handouts as the Department of Education will start emailing tens of millions of Americans, informing them of potential options heading their way around the time of the presidential election. Timing. This from Fox News. The Department of Education says all borrowers with at least one outstanding federally held student loan should expect a message in their inbox notifying them that they have until August 30th to call their servicer and opt out if they don't want this relief. Let me see. Would you not want that relief? You just got a BA in social justice. Strangely, you can't find work. Therefore, you can't pay back your loans. And suddenly the administration says, hey, all those liberal art degrees didn't teach you how to actually make a living, but they look good on your wall when you're hosting a leftist cocktail party at your house that you're renting because you can't afford to buy one. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to give you that money back. That's right. We're just going to forgive your loans. You know, I always wanted to pay for my children's education. I just never wanted to pay for your children's education. Maybe what you should do is if you're going to go to college, you might want to get a degree that actually gives you some kind of a life skill set that makes you money. I'm just saying. The Department of Education says all borrowers with one outstanding federally held student loan should expect a tap on the shoulders. These rules, if finalized as proposed, would bring the total number of borrowers eligible for student relief to over 30 million people. 30 million people. So I'm just trying to figure out a 22-year-old college student with a useless degree versus somebody with a federally held mortgage on their house. Which of those people are more productive for society, and which people deserve more financial relief from the government? I'm just asking. I mean, I ask these very difficult questions, and so on and so on. One last thing before we move to the bottom of the hour, I wanted to let you know, and this was a surprise to me. After 5 years as the face of the CBS Evening News, Nora O'Donnell will step away as the program's anchor later on this year. She's 50 years old. She shared the news with staff on a call on Monday of this week. The network has not yet named a replacement. Quote, after this year's election, I've decided I will be leaving my role as anchor and managing editor of the CBS Evening News to take on a new position at the network. She said that in a statement shared yesterday. We just celebrated an amazing 5 years together. I love what I do, and I am so fortunate to work with the best journalists and people in the business. She went on to say, I've spent 12 years in the anchor chair here at CBS News, connected to a daily broadcast and the rigors of a relentless news cycle. It's time to do something different. This presidential election will be my 7th as a journalist, and for many of us in the business, we tend to look at our careers in terms of these milestone events, unquote. O'Donnell said she's committing to anchoring all of the major coverage this year, election night, and hopefully a debate in the coming months. In her new role, she will remain a contributor to the evening news and other programs, including 60 Minutes as a correspondent. My final nights on the evening news broadcast are still a long way off. We still have plenty of time to celebrate our accomplishments. Is that what you should be reporting on the CBS Evening News? I'm not sure. CBS News CEO Wendy McMahon shared in a Tuesday statement that O'Donnell's new role will allow her to have the real estate and flexibility to leverage big bookings on numerous platforms, including primetime specials, 60 Minutes, CBS News, Sunday Morning, and more. During her time at Evening News, O'Donnell secured interviews with Pope Francis, Oprah Winfrey, Dolly Parton, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Hillary Clinton. She's also interviewed every living United States president. No mention of ratings, but once again, I'm not somebody that talks about ratings when it comes to reporting news. Those are hard to find, and usually you have to compromise the news to maximize ratings. And I have the poverty to prove that I certainly don't do that on this broadcast, by gum. This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. Stick around. The news continues next for this Wednesday morning.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. We want to thank the folks on the chat room. Let's see here. Let's see. What do we got here? Yeah, we were talking a little bit last hour about Google mistaking, it was the censorship of the President Trump photograph after the assassination attempt. Well, that was just a mistake. It was mistakenly censored. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not going to work. Yvonne says Google figures that after the initial melee over their search, everyone will forget about it and not notice it's still happening. Nope, that's not going to be the case. Let's see, couldn't happen to a more worthy criminal, talking about the political leader of Hamas getting blasted in Tehran by someone, probably the Israelis. Let's see, regarding people bringing fentanyl across the border, go to jail, jog straight to jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200. That's right. Let's see. And then Carlos, 106 to 110, radio check. 10-2, Carlos. Thanks very much for watching. I appreciate it. Let's see. The green light to attack the police was given by a former president in 2009, says Gary. Yeah, I guess that's probably true. Let's see what else. Sitting here thinking of a job I need to go do, I'm reminded of an old Russian proverb. I found I was prone to procrastination early in life. However, I've managed to put it off for all these years. It's very funny. Let's see. What was it? What do we got here? I'm watching you. Face fuchsia, tongue out. Excuse me? I'm sorry. Does my face look fuchsia? It looks a little red to me, but it's the lighting. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Let's see. Idiots pick the prettiest girl instead of the right person for the job. Yeah, that's true. How about white dudes against Harris? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I've watched 2 of her speeches. I found nothing of substance in them. She keeps throwing out taglines just short of old hope and change. Let's see. Kamala has me more confused after she talks, and Biden than what he said. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Laughing instead of crying. That's a good defense. Mark says, my neighbor's son took a 2-year AutoCAD class at the local community college. Started out making $45,000. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things about all this. You know, you get a college degree that actually helps you make a living. You know? Yeah. Let's see. Would suggest a Monday through Friday program live at Studio 6B on most internet locations. Are you talking about me, man? I'm working hard enough. I mean, I've got a day job. I mean, I am busy. And then some sort of coded response from Gary, who says the peaks. Gee, I wonder what he's talking about. I don't know what he could possibly be talking about. Okay, so here you go. Fox News now has more video, as I was talking about when it came to the assassination attempt against President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. I said that it wasn't going to be like the old days where in 1963 a president was blasted out of existence in broad daylight in Dallas, Texas, right over there. And there was only one visual record of it, and that was the Zapruder film from Abraham Zapruder, because there's all kinds of video out there. And Fox News Digital has found some of that video, and I think you probably need to see it. So without any further ado, let me show you what's going on. Look for the red circle at the top of the screen as we apparently see a video showing someone moving on the roof moments before the gunfire. Check this out. See that? Yeah. So that person is running around very, very quickly. You can see him moving there in the red circle. That's kind of obvious, isn't it? Let me just play it again.
So we're going to bring him up can we bring him up for a couple of minutes? You get ready, Rick Carmen. You get ready. I'll get you up. The world will see if I.
Okay, so let me try to show you this. You can see this little line here. That's that raised roof. You can see that it's a lot more of a slant than you think, and you can also see that this person is apparently running. Don't know how far down the peak roof he's running, but you can see that his upper torso is plainly visible. Why didn't they shoot that guy? Why didn't they shoot that guy? These are questions that don't have comfortable answers to. But all I can say is that somebody is going to have to come up with uncomfortable answers, because that's kind of a big deal. That is kind of a big deal. By the way, the article surrounding that, and comes from a surprising source. This from Fox News, exclusive. This is an exclusive report from Fox News. A video from James Copenhaver, one of the victims critically wounded in the July 13th assassination attempt against former President Trump, shows a figure moving across the roof of the American Glass Research Building minutes before gunfire rang out at the Trump rally in Butler. In the video taken at 6:08 on July 13th, the person appears on the roof of the building adjacent to where Trump is speaking, and can be seen walking from the 1 second mark to about the 250 second mark. Officials believe gunman Thomas Crooks began shooting with a collapsible AR-15 style rifle 3 minutes later, around 6:11. Counter snipers fatally shot Crooks shortly after gunfire started, and law enforcement officials found 8 shell casings near his body. In an attempt to assassinate the former president, Crooks killed 50-year-old Corey Comparator, a husband, father, former fire chief at the Buffalo Township Volunteer Fire Department. Also, by the way, Crooks critically wounded Copenhagen, who shot that video. He's 74. David Dutch was also shot. Both victims were shot twice, according to persons familiar. So you can see, once again, let me see if I can bring this out toward you just a little bit. I'm going to show you while I do the inside baseball here. I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to zoom in again and again. And so you can see that is a pretty good sized target. That is not unhittable. That is not just the crown of somebody's head. This was minutes before shots rang out. If I'm a counter sniper, and most of my friends who've actually spent time musing over that particular activity, that's not a tough shot. It's not a tough shot. Now, can you see the gun in that? No, you can't see the gun. But can you see police emblazoned on a, shall we say, plate carrier? Can we see a SWAT uniform? Can we see any of that on that person? No, we see a guy with a gray shirt, exactly what Thomas Crooks was wearing. Why was that guy still, and he wasn't walking, he was moving very quickly. Let me show you that one more time here on the Wells Report. Let me get this to you here. Take a look. All right. So let me do this one thing real fast. Okay. Let me turn that up and let me start it over. So that guy's running. That's not walking. He's running. And poof, there he is again. Yeah. What's that guy doing? I'll tell you what he's doing. He's trying to figure out how he's going to make this shot on the president. He's nervous as hell. And he's running back and forth. That's what he's doing. By the way, let's see. Now there is additional reporting coming from Fox News regarding the senior Hezbollah commander who was killed in a Beirut strike. IDF forces announced the death of Fouad Shakur, the Hezbollah commander who was behind a drone strike that killed 12 children and teens over the weekend. Shakur, who was also known as Haj Mohsin, M-O-H-S-I-N, joined Hezbollah in 1985. He was also sought by the U.S. government over his connection to the 1983 suicide bombing of the Marine Corps barracks in Beirut that killed 214 service members. And once again, there is news on this. And Brett Baer is reporting it. Let me give you some of this information while we have it handy here on the Wells Report.
Stories. The acting head of the Secret Service gets a grilling from senators over the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. We will have the highlights. There are a lot of them. But we begin tonight with Israel striking back over the murder of a dozen children by Hezbollah rocket fire this past weekend. Israeli forces striking Beirut, Lebanon, in what the Israelis say was a successful mission to kill the terrorist commander in charge of that attack. And tonight, people are holding their breath collectively in the region to see if this could mark a major escalation in the Middle East. Correspondent Trey Yingst has the latest tonight from Tel Aviv. Good evening, Trey.
Brett, good evening. Tonight, the Israeli military confirming that a senior Hezbollah commander was killed in the Beirut strike, an explosion rocking the Lebanese capital earlier this evening, as the IDF says that Fouad Shakur was the target. We do know this is a man that's been on the Israeli radar for years. The Israelis blamed him for the deadly rocket attack on Saturday that killed 12 Druze teenagers and children in the Golan Heights. Israel's defense minister said the attack crossed a red line, and a senior Israeli official said the strike in Beirut was about sending a clear message to the Iran-backed group. The source went on to say that Israel isn't seeking war with Hezbollah, But it's up to Hezbollah what comes next. Right now, there's no change in the Israeli Home Front Command, meaning no special instructions for civilians. Tonight, the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was in Tel Aviv holding a security assessment following the strike in Beirut as the region braces for what comes next.
All right, there's a great report from Trey Yingst, who at least deserves a Pulitzer Prize for his reporting on this war. That guy is the exact reason why war correspondents are so valued and so important in the American journalism effort and the world journalism effort, for that matter. That guy is doing great work. He is fair, he is honest, he is factual, and he's always where he should be in that region as, once again, the tinderbox of the Middle East, touched off by Hamas October 7th. And why? Because the Arab world was coalescing around peace with Israel. That's why. And what they've done is they touched off this war to forestall all of that. And it's working. And it's working. Getting back to the chat room, let's see, getting back to that fresh video that we just saw. You can see him on that roof from the angle of the shot. Then the SWAT team should have been able to see him even better from the other roof. Yeah? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yvonne says, I'm all for Israel eliminating the leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah. Yeah, I am too. When you prosecute a war that way, you are indeed at risk of losing your life, and you should be. These are war crimes, but for whatever reason, I believe just plain anti-Jewish bigoted bias by the world court, they've got to find problems with Israel and put pressure on them. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So as we continue our broadcast here, you know, we are going to get these splinters of news regarding the assassination attempt on President Trump. We are fortunate. There is no way to control this flow of information except a conspiracy by the mainstream media. Does some of that exist? Well, I spend a couple of hours, 3 hours every morning putting together the news that you see on this broadcast. And I went to USA Today, as I often do. I went to USA Today. Guess what wasn't on the front page? Anywhere. Any mention of the assassination attempt when there was clear news about it. That hearing yesterday for the deputy director of the FBI and the acting director of the Secret Service, respectively, Paul Abate and Ronald Rowe, that was news. Where was it on the front page of USA Today? Nowhere to be found. Why is that? Is it because they don't want you to know? Well, I can tell you this, and this is the point of all of this. People like me, people like you, cell phone video that otherwise would never be seen. That's the new journalism. And it's uncontrollable. And that's good. It used to be that the free press in the United States was uncontrollable. They would ask really tough questions of government officials all the time. They don't do that anymore because, well, they're on the side of whatever political power that they find the most important. But this video that we see right here, again, how does the Secret Service explain that? How do they explain this guy running back and forth on the roof? How is it that people inside the building didn't hear his footfalls because he was clearly running? Just exactly what happened on the 13th day of July, year of our Lord 2024. All I can tell you is that what we've heard so far doesn't seem to be it, does it? As Jesse Waters said so brilliantly last night, this stinks. It does stink. We better start seeing some answers. We better start seeing some Secret Service press conferences, some FBI press conferences. They better start coming clean with the American people because, as that video just showed, from one of the victims of the assassination attempt, if they don't do it, we will. So the mainstream media, used to having its own way, now being dragged along by truth as reported by we the people. I like it. Back with more in a moment.
Vallarta.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. The Paris Olympics are unfolding, and the United States women's gymnastic team is back as the world's best. They won gold last night at the Olympics. The U.S. was knocked off their pedestal in 2020. That's the Olympics. This is where Simone Biles famously withdrew from the competition, or most of it, because of what she called the twisties, not being able to find your place in space when you're twisting and flipping at the same time. Well, I can barely do that when I, play spin the top, I guess. I mean, that's a really difficult skill. So in 2020, the American team was exactly one Simone Biles short and one silver. However, they won gold in 2012, the London Games, and in 2016 at the Rio Games. The team of Simone Biles, Suni Lee, Jordan Childs, Jade Carey were near perfect to earn the program's third gold in the past 4 Olympics in the team event. The individual skills continue. And I got to say something. Simone Biles is amazing. When she does a tumbling pass, she breaks 10 feet in the air and somehow sticks the landing. She did that 2 out of 3 times last night. Suni Lee combines true athletic grace and icy calm and is very, very good. Jordan Childs is just amazing. She's a firecracker. She's doing her Olympic floor routine. She stands in the corner, she's looking straight at the camera, and she winks. All that pressure, all that Olympic pressure, the pressure of, the team chances for gold were definitely in the mix when she took to that mat. But she winks at the camera. She flat has it. She just does. And then there's Jade Carey. She is someone who has won gold in the individual events and so on, but had some tough times this time around, and so not able to perform, at least on the coverage last night. But she did perform before they went to the air in their primetime coverage. It is the fifth gold, 22nd overall medal for the United States in this year's Olympics across all events. Biles stepped up to perform her floor routine, knowing that an 8.864 or better would secure the gold, although she stepped out of bounds a couple of times. Her routine was absolutely electric. Judges took that into account, as well as the difficulty of it. Nobody can do what she does. The final score was a 14.666. If she could stay in bounds, what would those scores look like? She'd have broken 15. Good heavens. Team USA jumped for joy, knowing their hard work led to gold, as they posted a total score of 171.296. Italy, a gymnastic team that waited decades to ever win a medal in the event, earned silver with 165.494. And in third was Brazil. Left out of the podium were the members of the British team, and it was a good competition last night, although I have a couple of complaints. NBC is covering this, okay? And I know that women gymnastics is, well, it's for women. I mean, it's the competition itself. I mean, I like athletic endeavor as much as anybody else, but the overly emotional stories of coming back and so on and so forth, while important to the story, have been overdone in this coverage. I mean, it's like, how many times can they tell the same story of being the redemption tour and all these people bravely fighting back? I mean, it's fine first couple of times, 3 and 4 times every coverage. Notice it when they get into the individual individual events. NBC will continue flogging this maudlin idea of over emotional and sometimes contrived coverage of injuries. Yes, Simone Biles tweaked her calf, but then she went out on the floor exercise and broke 10 feet. She went 11 feet 6 inches on a tumbling pass and landed on that leg. Okay, that's an amazing achievement, but you have to tell us how amazing it is 4 times. There's also something else. I've been watching this. I have Peacock at my house. I got it on my phone. And I go to their guide and boxing 92 kilograms and so on and so forth. And I pop that on there. And what do I see? Boxing, heavyweights. Nope. Table tennis. It's like, oh, okay. So while this platform idea is truly amazingly brilliant, at least on paper, unfortunately, we watch the Olympic Games on television, not on paper. Can we try to clean that up somehow? I mean, it is an incredibly ambitious online presence for NBC. I get it. And Mike Tirico is doing a great job. I have to note that Bob Costas was sitting in the audience last night as opposed to being on the broadcast itself. I wonder why. But Mike Tirico is doing a superb job. I really like the studio segments that they're doing, as long as they try to get away from telling the exact same story the exact same way over and over and over. And for crying out loud, I don't know what it is, but also the coverage keeps freezing on my television. I mean, I've got 500 up and 500 down. I've got a big pipe of internet bandwidth in my house, but the television keeps freezing. And I go, well, how do I fix it? Well, turn off the other applications. What applications? Television doesn't tell me what applications are running. How do I turn them off? Again, NBC needs to do a little bit of work on this, but aside from that, I'll give it about a B-, mostly for technical and mostly for retelling the same stories over and over and over again, something that we do not do here on the Wells Report. No, we tell the news, baked fresh daily, and we do it every day here on the broadcast. If you find value in it, share it with your friends, subscribe, hit the notification button, and give us thumbs ups. This has been the Wells Report. See you tomorrow. And And so there we go. Let's see what else is going on. Let's see what else is going on. I noticed the chick protecting Trump left him exposed a few times, fumbling with her shades and picking up his hat. Yeah. Let's see what else. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Dirk. Yes, indeedy. I'm not sure why badminton is an Olympic sport. Well, when you play it the way they do, you can see why it's an Olympic sport. That shuttlecock, don't blush. That shuttlecock can break speeds of 200 miles an hour off those little flimsy rackets. It's not like a backyard game that you and I play. I mean, seriously, badminton is a tough game. Can you imagine the reaction of the Greeks if they came back today and saw what games are being played in the Olympics now? Yeah. And also, by the way, while we're on the subject of ancient Greeks, remember they competed in the nude. They really did. And all you have to think about is if that tradition had held, to combine these two subjects, would anybody want to watch the breakdancing competition if everybody was naked? Gary says, JD for president. JD for president. I've thought about that a lot. What would I do? I do a lot of things. I would absolutely do a lot of things. I would send memos. Send memos to these executive branch agencies and the people, the secretaries that are running them. And I would ask for explanations. Why wasn't this particular topic? Tell me the difference between political and righteous in this. You did X event. Was there politics or was it incompetence? And if they answered the question wrong, I'd fire them on the spot. I mean, I wouldn't fire them. I'd just make sure that they didn't have the job they had. I'd put them someplace else. You know, the naval attaché to Paraguay, for example, or some other country. You know, I would change things. I would. But would I be the next one getting shot at? And that, unfortunately, is a question that must be asked. That's all I have today. God bless you and yours. Take good care of yourself. Have yourself a wonderful day. I'll see you again tomorrow at about 11 o'clock.